welcome to the Sports for Dummies podcast, episode 10, the last of this series. This is the podcast for you if you know everything about sport or you know absolutely nothing. Every single week, I am joined by the sporting guru, Lewis Pearce, who breaks down the 3 biggest sporting stories in the world this week. My name is Hope of Also.
Of Also. My name is Hope of Also.
Yeah, that sounds like I'm an emperor. It's Hope of Also. That's fine. We're going to keep the intro in because let's rock and roll.
Wicked. All right.
Lewis, how are you this week, my love?
I'm good. And to wrap up, Hope, Series 4, because it's the last one, I thought I've got a little football here. So I'll give it a quick back of the net.
To deflection, it's on the far side.
Hey, love that.
I'm very well, thank you. I'm good. I've had a good week, had my induction at university. And I got an invite to Watford Football Club on Thursday night. I was at an event with the Frank Sue Foundation, and that was for East and Southeast Asian Heritage Month, which is known as ESA, for 2022. It was a very, very amazing night, Hope. So we had 3 guests there. There were 3 panellists. A man called Alan Lau, who set up the Frank Sue Foundation, the man that ran the whole event. A woman called Alicia Tang. She is actually she's the Lionesses' lead physio. And a man called Lawrence Locke, who is a development and inclusion officer for the FA. So very, very interesting. And it was focusing kind of about the panelists' journeys, what they've been through, and actually how we can be more inclusive in the football industry of British East and Southeast Asians. So yeah, it was a really interesting night. Great networking event, met lots of really interesting people, had lots of yummy food as well. So it was brilliant. Yeah, had a great time. How's your week been?
Also not far from your house.
No, literally. Although, I tell you what, the roundabout going to Watford, Hope, is an absolute flipping nightmare. There's this the lanes, they disappear into one, and then if you're not in the right, it's like literally driving the car, you go, you sort of get there. You know, there are those movies where you come to a halt and you stop and everyone goes, oh. And for those that don't get it, that's like where your head hits the back of the seat and you're like absolutely out of breath. Anyway, when you arrive, you take your seatbelt off and you kind of like, your legs are like jelly as you're walking along. So yeah.
I can't say it's ever happened to me.
No, I tell you haven't missed out driving through Watford because it is scary. Anyway, how?
Yeah, my week's been quite good. What have I been doing? Had an audition the other day that I think went well, so that's good. Things are picking up a little bit with work. I had a bit of a lull, but that always happens in self-employed land, and you get into a bit of a flap and a panic, and then you're like, ugh! And then you apply to loads of random things, and they all come back, and you don't want them. It's the way it goes. But actually, I'm trying to readjust my thought pattern when it comes to the lulls, because things will get busy again. So just trying to take it slow and enjoying time with friends and family without thinking, I should be at my desk trying to get work. So it's been nice spending time with my goddaughter and my niece. And I actually changed my Instagram bio yesterday to presenter plus everyone's favourite auntie. There we go.
And you are indeed, Hope. You're everyone's favourite auntie. We're talking about the terrible result last night in Italy. England lost 1-0 and have been relegated to League B in the Nations League.
Oh dear. I went in to my dad. So me and Mum were watching. I don't remember what we were watching. We were just drinking wine and watching something. I fell asleep. But I went in to see my dad at one point to see the score. And Italy and England. And he started going, no, it's nearly. So it was 0. My dad's like me. He's a bit weird. So basically, I knew it weren't good. And then he came in a little while later and just sat with us. Because he went, I can't watch that anymore. 90
minutes of my life I will never get back. And it wasn't even like Hope it was enjoyable. It was just a complete and utter waste of time. So we'll get talking. Of course, for those listening now that will be in the past, I won't go on too long about the game. We can talk about the future because the question is, Hope, on everyone's lips now, what is going to happen for Mr. Gareth Southgate? Because, of course, we've now been relegated, Hope, from the Nations League. England haven't scored an open play goal in a competitive game since last November, which is 495 minutes of football, I should say.
Okay, so they have actually had games in that time.
Yes. So Hope, the last 4 results have been 2 draws, 2 losses, one of which was a 4-0 loss to Hungary at home in England. So that was, although to be fair, can't rule Hungary out. They've been brilliant. In the Nations League, they've been fantastic. So not faulting them in any way. I just mean on home soil, getting literally decimated by a team who, in reality, we should have been competing with, and we literally got played off the park, is embarrassing. Hope, I could get very not angry. I can get very
Passionate.
passionate and irritated, but I'll keep my cool and we'll put the neutral cap on. But yeah, so hope before the game kicks off, right, to give some sports and dummies roundup for those that maybe didn't watch the game or weren't necessarily sure on the score and stuff. So Italy have got quite a few injuries, a bit like Liverpool at the moment, right? Lots of injuries. They've got lots of injuries in their teams. They're playing a weakened side. They also aren't going to the World Cup, so they didn't qualify for the World Cup. I think we definitely spoke about that. They got knocked out last minute to North Macedonia. So they effectively have, apart from the Nations League, they've got nothing to play for. Of course, this is kind of like for obviously for sort of, I guess, morale within the country and stuff. Obviously, winning's always great. But it's not like they're building to go to the tournament. They're not going to the World Cup. So this game effectively means nothing. It's like a dead rubber. It means nothing to them.
Dead rubber?
That's what they call it.
I've never heard that phrase in my life.
Haven't you?
Do you remember the giant rubbers back in the day, the pink ones? That said like giant mistakes.
Yeah, the annoying thing about those, right, that note.
Yeah.
No, when you had like your maths book, right, and you had those kids and they had the math road, like, the trouble with those rubbers is you start rubbing out and then your entire page just disappears.
They're really hard to use.
Yeah, I never got it. Do you know what's funny saying that, right, with pencils? I actually think using rubbers, I think it's quite useless because it's like often the trouble is with a rubber, right? You miss you rub out something, but you end up rubbing out the whole line. So you've got to rewrite the whole line. And it's just a waste of time.
I haven't used a rubber in quite some time, I must say. And also, if you're new to the podcast, firstly, it's the last episode, so where you been? Secondly, my role in this is to take Lewis off course. And I've done it effectively. And it gets more effective every time. So yes, we're talking about rubbers because that's my job. Back to the football, Lewis.
Yes. So before the game even started, England were playing what looked to be, and it was, a 5 at the back. So 5 defensive players, which then turned into 7. So effectively, England were playing a formation of 7-0-3. And
I saw your tweet about that, actually.
Yeah, it was just boring. It was like, we have one of the most exciting attacking sides within Europe. The world maybe is a bit debatable, but you could say the world. In terms of creative players, we have lots. We have lots of great players going forwards, and he's playing this really defensive team. Now, we're bottom of the group. I can see why you're doing that, but if we didn't win the game, a draw or a loss meant relegation. So you had to go for it. So you're thinking, right, you've got to go for it. You may as well go 4 at the back or just go really attacking. So you could play 3 at the back, which is what we did. But in reality, instead of being a 3-4-3, which is what it was supposed to be, it just turned into 7 at the back and then 3 up front. And
because we were trying to defend so much.
Yeah, well, because Italy had the ball, they were dominating on the ball. There was just no creativity, no fluidity within the midfield or the defence. And to be fair, Hope, got to give credit to the goal scorer. Giacomo Raspadori was an unbelievable goal, really, really well taken. Literally turned Carl Walker inside and out and bent it round Nick Pope's post. He was brilliant, great finish. And the only player I think that you can really give credit for on the night would have been Jude Bellingham, the young lad from Borussia Dortmund. He was fantastic, played really, really well, but was the only one really that showed any sort of spark in the game. I mean, there were a couple of players whose stats looked fine, but actually on an eye test, so not just stats watching the game, went missing. And I would say personally, again, as we've discussed before, Hope, we've gone over my view on England, and as a passionate fan, I'm not like, whoa, England. But obviously I'll always watch and I'll always follow what's going on because that's our national team. And so I'll keep in touch. But, Southgate goes over towards the away fans towards the away fans, obviously in the away end at the San Siro in Italy. And there were loud boos and jeers. So his future is in doubt.
So was it, in your opinion, and your opinion at home, if you want to tell us about it, was it the fact that we need a new manager and Southgate is the issue? And if that is the case, who would you want to see? Or is it the players that we've got at the moment? A bit like Manchester United, not gelling well. And could that improve as time goes on? Who is the problem?
Hope, great question. Now, there's actually a very, very famous question always circulated in the media, which is known about the England job, and it's known as the impossible job. So we're going to start with that, and then I'll come on to my full conclusion.
Impossibly.
But that's exactly from Italy. The thing is, the England job, the pressure on your shoulders is absolute. I would say it's probably one of the hardest jobs in world football, without a doubt, because the fact is, if you're not successful, you get ridiculed. And no one can deny, over the last sort of, I'd maybe say 3 tournaments which Southgate has done, 2 of which we've got to a final and then a semi-final, we've played well. But equally, we've played well, and it's been like okay. It hasn't been amazing football, but it's been fine. It's been acceptable, and his win record is great. That's the thing. So Southgate in the job has one of the best. I think he might actually. Can't quote me on that, but I know his win percentage is over halfway. It's like 64, 65% or something. So he's got a good win percentage. And in comparison to other England managers, that is unbelievable. You know, like lots of England managers have done terribly because the truth is, you've got obviously a nation's eyes on your shoulders. But because we haven't been successful for so long, that pressure is so much higher, say, than like an Italy or a Spain. Not to say that there isn't, because I think every international job is really, really difficult.
The pressure is different.
Yeah,
when you've got
exactly.
a lot of losses, it's more important for you to get a win.
Exactly. You know, we haven't won the World Cup since 1966. You know, that is a long, long time ago. And so...
That's like 50. Is that 50 years?
Yeah, it was 50. I think it was 50 years. It's like 50 couple of years. It's ridiculous.
Quite
really.
good maths, by the way, from me. Sort of.
Yeah, it must be
an
50,
estimation.
Yeah, I guess 56 years. And now, personally, and again, I don't ever like being critical of people or critical of managers or anyone like that, because I don't think you can for 1 minute rule out the challenge that Southgate has. You know, he is managing a group of players who are exceptionally talented. He's got a great group, like a great squad. But after how close we came to the Euros, how literally we were one penalty kick away from winning it, and obviously it fell at our feet. That obviously then adds pressure. And so that happens. Then we go to the Nations League in June and we get absolutely battered left, right and centre. You lose again yesterday with no real promise in the team. Now, he was quoted saying, "It's difficult for me to be too critical of the performance. We had more possession, more shots on target." And then he goes on a bit about kind of the results. Everyone's going to react to the result. Even though we had more possession, blah, 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 we didn't play well. The key quote, though, that he said was, "I personally thought the performance was a step in the right direction." And I don't like calling people out, but the truth is, I don't know what game he was watching, because the game that I watched was 90 minutes of utter dross. And there was for the last sort of 5 or 10 minutes, it was a bit more promising. England looked a bit more in it. My thought hope is this on Gareth Southgate, and I've always said this, and I'm not someone that ever criticises. My opinion is Gareth Southgate is not the man to lead England to a World Cup or a Euros win. I think he's a great assistant manager. He'd be a great coach, a great director, potentially. You know, his qualities are he's amazing at player relations. He has such a good way of making sure that players are happy, on track as a squad. You look at the England team and how united they are. It's amazing. And you don't often see managers that can do that. But I think tactically, I just do not believe he's the man to do it for England. And again, that's not me saying that he's a bad manager, because I don't believe that. I think from a man management perspective, he's brilliant. And he
management.
There you go. Management perspective, he is brilliant. But I just don't think he has that final edge. Not like Klopp, not like Pep, not like Jose Mourinho. I just don't think he has that final spark to get the boys over the line. And that is my opinion.
So who does?
Well, this is the thing, because then
Lewis Pearce.
Then everyone points the finger and goes, "Oh, well, you need to have an answer if you get..." And it's like, the truth is, I couldn't tell you, because I think the fact is, any manager in that England role is going to struggle. It's true. But what I would like to see, if I was in charge of the FA and stuff, again, if you sack Southgate, he has to go. That's the truth. But what I would do is I would change his role. So I would make him someone like the assistant manager or head of player relations or something. So that way he is still involved in the squad, because I think he does play an important role, but get someone in. You know, there are lots of managers that are available, Hope. Whether they would come or not, I don't know. But managers like Marcelo Bielsa, you know, ex-Leeds manager, again, a massive outsider, would be quite fun to have. Pochettino, ex-Spurs manager, is available. He's fantastic. Zinedine Zidane, ex-Real Madrid manager, amazing. The odds of these managers coming is very...
Do they need to be English?
No. We've had managers before that are from Italy, from Sweden, so no, they don't have to be English.
That's
quite weird. Yeah, not really, Hope, because, you know, at the end of the day, you want a manager that's going to, like, bring you to success. It doesn't matter whether they're...
Yeah, but if all the players are English, I think the manager should be English.
Well, there you go. So currently he is. You know, that's the thing. To be fair, over the last couple of years, since... Oh, goodness. When did Capello get sacked? I'm trying to think. Yeah, so for the last 10 years or so, since 2010-ish, we've only had English managers. We haven't had any...
Yeah, no, I think that's
European
how it should be. For every country, you should have someone from your country. Because then it's a proper country team.
Yeah, but Hope, the truth is, though, you've got to think as an example, right? So the Lionesses manager, Serena Weigmann, German manager, her footballing style is incredible, and you've got to think as well that different nations have different styles of football, and you're a product of your environment. And so, truthfully, if you look at it on paper, to be honest, the managers often that are from England that have been in the England job have been terrible, and so some haven't. But and again, I'm saying this for those listening that might be slightly older. This is from my perspective. I'm not talking about back in the 90s or 80s.
And he's
or even
only
the 60s.
12.
Yeah, I'm literally about, yeah, exactly. So I just worry for Southgate because I think that he is a nice bloke, and he's done a great, what he's done with that squad is amazing. And you can't fault his achievement of getting to a semi-final of the World Cup, getting to a final of the Euros. But I just think that clock really is ticking for him. And it would be a sad way to go to see him get sacked or just annihilated out the media. But unfortunately, I mean, saying things like, I thought it was a step in the right direction. It's like we were awful. We were awful last night. There were no positives.
It's nice to be nice, but you're not going to get the trophy because you're nice. It's not a nice competition. It's a football competition. Also,
and it's like,
that's my analysis. Also, what was I going to say? It's gone. Oh, yeah. World Cup is coming.
Yes.
They need to be going into that with a positive mindset because they need to get some victories behind them. Otherwise, that is going to impact their play 100%.
Oh, hope, without a doubt. And so saying that, for those listening that probably will have heard this already, you'll probably know the score as well. England take on Germany on Monday night in the Nations League. So again, that is a complete dead rubber. England have nothing to play for because obviously we've lost. So now it's literally national pride. So this is the last game before the World Cup. Germany also lost. They lost to Hungary 1-0. So yeah, I mean, to be honest, it could be a very, very long winter hope for England. And the truth is, our group, so in our group, we can obviously, when it comes to it, we'll do a full World Cup preview for everyone listening. We can do a full Sports Dummies rundown, predictions, all that fun stuff.
Oh, and kits.
And kits. We'll do kits for definite, absolutely. In fact, we can do that soon. Maybe we could start that in a couple of weeks. Yeah, keep your eyes on the prize for that one, people. But yeah, but I hope for those listening, of course, you did our eyes on the prize. But my only worry, right, with England is that the group, so in the group, for a little preview, we've got USA, Wales, and Iran. Now, on paper, those three countries we should beat comfortably. Obviously, but we're talking about England here, so it might not happen. But the problem is, in the round of 16, we could face the Netherlands if things go the way people would predict. And in the quarterfinals, odds are we'll be playing France. And if we don't lose the first time, I'll tell you what, the way that the performances have been, I would not be confident in any way about England facing either the Netherlands or France. I just do not think it will go well.
All right, but let's be positive.
Oh, of course, we'll go into it. But to be honest, I'm just excited to see Brazil because actually, it sounds quite negative. Brazil haven't really been the same team for a long time, really. So I'm just hoping that we can see, because they've got a really, really good group of players this year. Very talented, like lots of flair, very fun. Should be a fun World Cup for them. So I'm looking forward. Yeah, I mean, it should be interesting.
What's it called when you all have teams and you all, for the World Cup, and you all put it in a hat and you choose them?
Oh, a sweepstake.
Is it what called a sweepstake? I'm going to do one of
sweepstake.
them with my family. I'm going to say to them, right, let's all have a go.
Well, we could do a sweepstake.
We should do a sweepstake. Also, fun fact about my grandma, June.
Yes.
Shout out June. She lives by herself, but she has like a little England thing that she holds in her hand, and it goes tick 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 tick, like this, like
one of the
flag
whizzy
toy
things. I know, yeah, I know what you're talking. Yeah.
So whenever England are playing, she'd just be in her house by herself, go wah around. The neighbours are probably thinking, what's going on there?
Yeah, it's like blimey, it's like some little building work going. You've got little yay!
June bug going on. Love
As
it.
the game's going. But yeah,
Good old grandma.
all in all, obviously, I wish England all the best for the World Cup and for the tournament going forwards. I just think that, it's not very positive. And the truth is, Hope, and this is anything about England, right? It's slightly different. With, say, the media with a football team, if you manage a club and your club's not doing very well, you can turn it around. The trouble with the England job and the media, as it's well known, as it's called the impossible job, when you lose the media and when you lose the fans, that's it. Like, there's no redemption. There's no way of coming back. There's no way of going, and honestly, if I had to make a prediction now, if you said to me, is Gareth Southgate going to be in the job post-World Cup? I would say no. I think unless we win it, unless England win the tournament and defy all odds and go and do really well, if they get knocked out early or if they get humiliated, anything like that, I can't see him staying in the job for very much longer, to be honest.
Well, let's watch. Oh, sorry. Let's
watch on.
You sound like Mick Carter from EastEnders. What's his name in real life? Oh, I forgot his name.
It's Phil Mitchell.
No, Mick Carter is like
Danny Dyer.
Danny Dyer. That's it.
I've never watched EastEnders.
You sound like Danny Dyer then.
Danny
What I was going to
Dyer.
say, what I was going to say is, let's watch this space and see if Lewis is right. Will Gareth Southgate still be in the job? Let us know your thoughts. As always, sportsfordummiespodcast@gmail.com. Story number 2, Lewis.
Hope, we're going on to an event that happened last night at the O2 Arena. Going to wrap it all up for those listening. Talking about one of the tennis legends who's just bowed out. Name is...
Do you know who I was about to say?
Who?
Nigel Farage, which is not his name.
Nigel Farage. It's Roger Federer, but I can't even see. I get the F.
It's the Federer and the Farage.
Right, that makes sense. One's a leader. He's involved in politics. The other one plays tennis full time. It's like, anyway.
Oh yeah, all right. I made a mistake. Let's move on.
Right, on to the next. So hope the tears were flowing properly at the O2 Arena last night. Of course, Roger Federer has bowed out of tennis in style. His final game, there was not a dry eye in the house. It was very, very amazing to see kind of the last scenes in his final interview and stuff. So we wish him all the best in his retirement. But yeah, it was a really moving night, to be honest. Very moving night.
Did you cry?
Hope. This is the trouble, Hope, sometimes with sport. It was on. Did you say, do I cry or did I cry?
Did I cry?
No,
did you cry?
No, because it was on. No, it was on at the same time as England. So I watched the opening of it, but I didn't watch the end because it ended about 11:30. Like I think it finished at about. Yeah, it went on and on, and it went. I think the final. If I'm not mistaken, I think the final shot was at like 12:30. It was ridiculously. It was very, very late. It ended very late. So no, I was in bed.
Also, in that situation, sometimes if you're not there and the atmosphere isn't taking you, watching it is not the same, so you probably won't cry.
No, I mean, again, for most sporting legends, I don't really have that. Of course, obviously, there are things that are passionate and that do move me, but yeah, something like that, no, I probably wouldn't. I mean, if you're there, I think it is different. You're right, but I think on the telly, there's kind of there's different films, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, we've got to talk about him. Hope 20 Grand Slam titles, 103 AP titles. He's had 310 weeks at number 1, which is absolutely ridiculous.
And we know how hard that is.
Oh, Hope.
When we looked before, Serena Williams.
Yeah, Miss Serena Williams, the other goat, absolutely. So yeah, the nickname was.
That's my goat noise.
Brilliant. We had Few Down playing when that was Federer and Nadal on the same team. They were up against an American duo, and they sadly lost. But in style, they didn't bow out by any means that were bad. There's a clip, Hope, that you can find on Twitter. Just go and have a look. Just type in, Roger Federer impossible shot. Yesterday, Hope. He scored, or basically he landed a shot that would have, I mean, I don't know what the odds would have been. I would say it's a 1 in a million. So where the net is, right? So you've got the net and then you've got the pole, right? And so on the pole, the net goes, there is a tiny hole and a tiny space in between where the net is and the pole is, right?
Yeah.
Roger hit the ball through the hole.
If it has gone through, then it doesn't count. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
We must be able to see a replay on the big screen here.
It was obviously a complete fluke, but it was one of those shots where it's like, even though they lost, that is a shot that will go down in history because he lands this shot that, like, I mean, it is literally odds defying how he did it. It's insane.
I know we've obviously don't want to take the whole episode up on explaining tennis, but just a quick question.
Yes.
How does tennis work? So basically, I used to play badminton, and it would be up to, this is a long time ago, but I think it was 30, and that would be the match.
Right. So
with tennis, how do you win?
So it goes 15, 30, 40, set.
That's random. Why not 15, 30, 40, set?
Yeah. So that's just how it works. I hope that's just the game of tennis.
It's weird.
So we play now. It could be 15 love, then 15 all, then 30-15, then 30-30, then 40-30, then 40-40. Then you've got to go to deuce, and then it all gets complicated. So to put it in very basic sports and dummies terms, we'll just say it because again, I won't go into all the ties and tie breaks and stuff, or double deuce or anything like that because it's very complicated. But,
Juice.
Exactly, juice. Yeah, it's quite when you start following it, it's not that difficult to understand. But I think if you know nothing about the scoring, I obviously went out to the French Open and I knew how.
And you were scoring it.
Yeah, and I knew how singles worked, but doubles is a whole different ballgame because there's different rules about things, there's different rules about serving. So it's quite a complicated game. So we could do an episode maybe at some point where we do it.
It seems very stop-start from what I've seen. And how many hours does it normally take?
It can last more. It depends on the game, Hope, and depends on so traditionally, really, I would say, for like a Wimbledon final, it'd be a couple of hours. So the longest tennis game ever, Hope, was between
What?
John Isner and a man called Nicholas Mahut. Sorry for any pronunciation that was wrong. That was at 2010. That was a first round match at Wimbledon. That lasted 11 hours and 5 minutes.
Without any breaks?
Well, there would have been breaks. It was a 138-point tiebreaker. So that literally means it would have gone, I win a point, you win a point, I win a point, you win a point, I win a point, you win a point, I win a point. Eventually, someone wins. And 138, 11 hours. Yeah. But so that's the thing, Hope. So tennis can actually it's a bit like one of those sports where it can either literally go like that. I was working on games at the French Open that people got decimated and you'd literally win. If for the women's game, it'd be two sets to nil or 3 sets to nil, whatever. Honestly, some people just get decimated. Others, it's like that. It's like ping pong. It's like backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards.
Another sport that can last ages is cricket, isn't it?
Cricket's always been a traditionally slow sport. That's just how it is. But this wasn't as long, of course. But the reason why I hope it wasn't because the game went on for a long time. It just started really late. That was always just a very late start.
Because it was a celebration and let's all watch it.
And that whole thing. So, yeah, but I mean, to be fair, talking about celebrations, there were lots of celebrities there. We had people like Bear Grylls, the Vogue editor called Anna Wintour was there, Hugh Grant, Michael McIntyre, even Bill Gates was there.
Whoa.
Yeah, so there you go.
If you're thinking, just quickly, if you're thinking, why is Roger Federer retiring? Have a listen to episode 8 of this podcast and you'll find out more.
Exactly. So we won't spoil that. You can go and check out the other episode if you don't know. But yes, so that's it. And in his post-match interview, Hope, he held back tears and he said, I'm happy. I'm not sad, kind of saying they were happy tears. And his wife was there and he said about his wife, she could have stopped me a long time ago, but she didn't. She let me carry on playing, which is amazing. So all of his family were there. His parents were there. It was a very, very beautiful night for him. And hopefully going forwards, he's made it clear from day one, he will still be involved in the world of tennis. Who knows what that's going to look like. But what we do know for now is that he's going on holiday with his family to celebrate.
He'll come back.
Yeah, he will, for sure he will. Just like Serena in some way, they'll
come back.
I'm sure they'll be in and around the sport in some capacity. But yeah, an amazing career, and we wish Roger all the best in his happy retirement. But what an amazing tennis player he's been, and it just makes you think, Hope. Something I've really felt, watching someone like him and thinking about Messi and Ronaldo is that actually that was my generation, was people like Roger Federer, Djokovic, Nadal, and these players are, of course, aging. People like Messi and Ronaldo and Tom Brady, players that people in the sporting world have grown up with, and now are moving on to new stars. So I feel like lots of sport at the moment is in a bit of a transition period, in that there are lots of stars that have broken through that are aging across different sporting worlds, and we're now moving on to different generations. So yeah,
random, but there is a sport I don't think we've ever covered, and I think we maybe should.
Which is?
Sumo wrestling.
No, have we not? I'm sure didn't we cover it?
No, I don't think we ever have. Moving on to story number 3.
Yes, I hope we're going to wrap it all up today. Series 4 in style. We're talking about a legend, another GOAT of the, I would say, adventuring world, a man that breaks boundaries and is an incredible athlete. We're talking about Mr. Ross Edgley.
Love when Lewis says these names and builds it up, and I have no idea who he's talking about.
Literally, it's just like talking to a brick. It's just nothing.
And you have an expression and a pause, like react. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm meant to know who they are.
It's like that meme. There's the seal sitting in the water. It's going round. It's going boom, 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 but just completely, just nothing there. Just Anyway, so Hope, I don't know if I don't know, you might have missed this, and it's okay if you have. Anyone listening to, you may have seen it on the news. But I'm going to give a quick update. So Ross Edgley has been in the news this week. He has broken the record for the longest ever open swim. He's actually doing that in the Loch Ness. Hope, he spent 52 hours and 39 minutes in the water without touching a boat, without touching land. He covered 79, 52.
He couldn't sleep or anything.
No, I don't believe he did.
I don't understand.
From what I understand, and again, I will do when I believe there will be a documentary being made on it in some capacity. I'm sure they'll make more announcements. From what I understood, and again, a bit like he did. So Hope, we'll get onto what he's done before because he's an incredible man. The way that it looked in the photos that were taken, he would pause in the water to have breaks. So he would would swim and then would stop.
He could do like a star and float. My sister is so good at that, by the way. She's very buoyant. Where you like put your legs and maybe he slept like that.
I mean, he might have done. I don't know. Although
if the Loch Ness monster come over, he'd be in trouble.
Yeah.
Hello, the Loch Ness monster.
Yeah. It ain't time to eat ya. And then, by the Loch Ness monster. But anyway, he endured temperatures, Hope, as low as 5 degrees. So you've got to think and an incredible.
Why would you do this to yourself?
Because Hope, he is a bonkers human being. He actually, and again, I'm going to give a little shout out, something for people to watch over the 2-week break. If you want something to watch and you don't know what to do, and there's not a lot of sport going on, Ross Edgley broke the record. He has swam around the British Isles, Hope. That's what he's done. And it took him again, I won't spoil it, but he swam for 153 days straight. And you see a man literally who swims all the way around the bottom of England and up alongside Wales, all the way around past Ireland, up and along around Scotland. I mean, it is and then obviously down the east side of England too.
That is, like we said, he's bonkers, but that is absolutely incredible. And what an achievement that you can then say, for generations, everyone can be like, my great, 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 great granddad, he done that.
Yeah, and Hope, he is.
I mean, by that time, all the countries or places that he swam might be underwater because they're all been flooded. But he'll be well equipped if we do flood, by the way. He'll just be living in the water.
Of all the people, him and Michael Phelps would just be living it up.
Sorted.
Yeah, Adam
they'll develop webbed feet.
Yeah, bye. And there's me with my buoyancy, just sort of playing, and then it's chilling. See, but actually, I'm quite a good swimmer. Definitely not as good as Ross Edgley though.
I'm a good floater. Not as good as my sister though.
A good bobber. But yeah, I mean, from what it looks as if, Hope, there were obviously 2 reasons for doing this. One was personal achievement, of course. To break a record like that is absolutely incredible. But secondly, he's actually a really good man. He often does things for charity. He raises a lot of money for different people. He works very closely with Gymshark and Loughborough University. And for anyone that's kind of interested in kind of the world of sports or balancing, say, endurance with physical activity, we'll insert a photo, I'm sure, of him. He is a flipping monster. As in, you wouldn't believe the size of him and the capabilities he has. And I Hope, just quickly, I'm just going to show you a photo.
Swimmers do have very big shoulders, don't they?
Hope, he is he's not abnormally big. He is a literal man mountain.
Oh my goodness.
He is huge. And he's one of those people where for his
he's muscly.
He's just muscle. Quite literally.
He looks like Hulk.
Yeah. And
oh my goodness.
I am completely inspired by his workouts because very often, and this is something that I would say again.
Lewis, don't return to series 5 like that. I'll be like, who are you?
No, Hope, he has got incredible genes, but he's one of these people where, Hope...
Are they from Tesco?
Look at the side of it.
Whoa. Did you like my joke, though?
I'm just going to ignore that. But yeah, the other thing, Hope, he was raising awareness for, was actually preserving sea kelp forests in Scotland. Now, I'm going to give a quick little side note to this, because actually I think this is quite amazing. So, he was quoted by saying, the longer I've been working with Talisker and Parley, who he's been partnered with, the more I've learned about sea kelp and how essential they are, how essential the preservation of these amazing sea kelp forests are. Now, very interestingly, Talisker and Parley, there are 2 different companies, by the looks, joined in one for this adventure. Now, they're actually committed to supporting the reservation and protection of 100 million square meters of marine ecosystems by 2023. And I didn't know this, Hope. Again, obviously I've done quite a lot of swimming in the sea before, but I didn't really realise, stuff like kelp you don't really appreciate. Apparently, kelp absorbs carbon dioxide, helps regulate water acidity, harbours microorganisms, of course, shelters different animals, and different animals live in the sea kelp forests. So he was raising awareness for that as well. So quite an amazing achievement. To give it an update, though, for those that were wondering, Ross did post something today. I'm sure we could screenshot it from here on his Twitter, Instagram, or somewhere. But he's given an update. He's ended up what looks as if he's potentially in hospital. We don't really know.
No.
Yeah, he's okay. Like he posted himself. And he said he's going to give an update. So we'll obviously wish him all the best in his recovery. Hopefully it's nothing too serious and he'll be all right. But it's obviously a major concern. I suspect, Hope, it'll be because of the severe shock on the body, the conditions, all that stuff. But he was quoted by saying, "Thank you so much for all the kind messages of support. As you can probably tell, the swim didn't go entirely to plan. We'll update properly later, but want to publish a huge post of gratitude to everyone and say a giant thank you to my amazing support team." So, of course, we wish him all the best. An absolute legend. And really sad. Yeah, an absolute beast. He's a monster.
Ross.
Or Edgley.
Quickly, my uncle, fun fact about sea preservation.
Yeah.
My uncle, John, he used to do scuba diving in Fiji and New Zealand, and he was a scuba diving teacher, and he used to do loads of work to stop people killing the whales.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. For their
wow.
product.
That's interesting.
Have you seen Seaspiracy?
Hope it's one of these, and again, I'll say no, because it's one of these shows I think I need to be in a frame of mind where I'm ready to, I think I need to be ready to watch it. And I'm not saying I'm not at that point yet, but every time I've come around to watching it, I've either been going away or I've been involved in some sort of like eating seafood. And I need to watch it.
It's very good. I mean, I still eat fish, but I'm very aware.
Yeah. Oh, no. And I think actually, Senate Hope, another company I'll give a shout out to. They are the sponsor of Forest. No, in fact, we can even include a clip or a photo. So Forest Green Rovers, the football team, their third kit sponsor, Sea Shepherd, they are a charity who work out in the sea. But they combat stuff like that, so whaling and all that sort of thing. And they're a charity run all over the world, incredible charity for what they do. But there is a massive world in that. Even sea kelp, even with something like Ross, I would never really have realised actually the damage that is being done for destroying sea kelp. And so
humans the worst, FYI.
No, it's not good, is it? So yeah, but anyway, wish Ross. Oh, go on, you say.
Octopi have 8 brains one in each tentacle.
I did know that.
When they lay their eggs, they then die. No,
it's really sad. It's like bees. Well, they sting, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, just like bees.
As in like animals that they sting you and you die, or they lay eggs and they die. You got the point.
8 brains. Imagine that.
Yeah,
that's like one of them. That's like Split, that film where he's got different personalities.
Yeah, I tell you what. To be fair though, it's quite funny, isn't it? Because I always imagine in my head, like, so with 8 brains, you've got 8. Obviously 8 tentacles. So you've got one playing like basketball, one you'd be doing keepy uppy to the football, then the other one you'd be throwing NFL balls, the other one you'd be hitting with a
I like how you made it sporty. Very, very clever. That
I feel like octopi need to, obviously with those brains, they need to take it in a new way now. It's time to revolutionise. And you just see, it's like, oh, what's that film called? Where is it Despicable Me where they've got a squid gun? Yes, it is. That is legendary.
You haven't even got any nieces or nephews. How do you know that?
I like Despicable Me.
Yeah, sorry, that was a bit mean. You can watch cartoons.
It was a great film back in the day.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, with a squid gun.
Absolutely pied you there. Sorry.
Yeah, so rude of you, Miss. And you're supposed to be the nice auntie. Absolute rubbish. Anyway, everybody, that is it for Series 4. Thank you so much for joining us on the ride, as always, and going through all the different series with us. If you have enjoyed this episode, please do let us know at sportsfordummiespodcast@gmail.com. Drop us a message on Twitter, on Instagram, wherever you want to do it. Just let us know. Any sports aside sumo wrestling you want to see potentially next series, do let us know. And equally, the other thing that's important to say, any guests, people, any guests that you'd like us to have on, any ideas of sporting guests, whether it be NFL, it could be ice hockey, it could be underwater polo, you name it, we're up for it. You let us know what you'd like to see next, and we'll see what we can do.
We'll be there for you.
And the
Sports for Dummies duo. Also, very exciting, guys. We are going to be shifting to a brand new platform for the next series. We'll tell you more as and when we know. Why are you laughing?
Because you were singing, we started doing an awful remix of Friends, and then you just went straight into letting people know new news.
Yeah, well, that's how I roll. So yeah, keep your eyes on the prize for that. Have a wonderful week, and we will see you in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, see you in a bit, people. Peace.
Peace!